someone truly starts putting in the work, the people around them begin to quietly change, sometimes without even realizing it. Shasha used to be your typical underachiever, spending her days hanging out with a group of friends who were just as unmotivated as she was, with no goals and no plan. But once Shasha started seriously studying for her exams, her friends' attitudes began to shift little by little. At first, they laughed at her. "There's no way you're getting into a top university." A little while later, one of her friends flipped open Shasha's notebook by chance, and quietly looked through it for a long time. "She's actually putting in serious work." Then a little while after that, at a get-together, her friends suddenly told Shasha they weren't going to come around to hang out anymore. Shasha thought they were done with her. Her friends said, "That's not it. We don't want to interrupt your studying. What you're doing right now is incredible, and we refuse to be the ones who hold you back." Shasha broke down in tears right then and there. Her father was quietly changing too. This was a man who had always valued his son over his daughter, who had openly mocked her dreams from the start, and made it clear he wouldn't spend a single cent on her. But a few months later, he came home one day, to find the walls covered in Shasha's study notes, with one more lying on the floor. He bent down and picked it up, then let out a long sigh. That sigh looked like disapproval on the surface, but it was really just him hiding how stunned he was. One day, drinking alone, he finally said the things he'd never said out loud. Part of why he had always been so hard on his daughter was because Shasha used to call him a smelly old man all the time, and it made him feel like he had no respect in her eyes. That evening, Shasha came home with her mock exam results. Her younger brother read her scores out loud. They were pretty impressive. Something shifted in her father's eyes. For the first time, he reached out and picked up his daughter's score sheet on his own, and studied it for a long time. He was starting to believe that the daughter standing in front of him was not the same girl he had written off before. On the day of the actual exam, a heavy snowstorm had blocked the roads, and brought traffic to a near standstill. Her father rushed back from work, put Shasha on his company shuttle bus, and drove her to the exam site himself. On the way, he said, "Dad has been wrong about a lot of things. The person you are now, you're the hope of this whole family." Shasha couldn't just let it go like that. She angrily let out years of built-up hurt. He had never once supported her, so what gave him the right to say any of this now? Her father didn't say a word in response. He suddenly pulled over, grabbed a shovel, and walked over to help a stranger stranded in the snow by the road. Shasha watched him from behind, and her mother's words came back to her. "Your dad may seem cold on the outside, but deep down he's actually a very kind person." Shasha realized in that moment that it wasn't just her father who had gotten her wrong. She had gotten him wrong too. As Shasha walked toward the exam building, her father suddenly jumped out of the bus and shouted after her. Shasha turned around and looked at him quietly for a long moment, then turned back and walked into the exam hall. She wasn't feeling well that day. Her stomach was acting up, but every bit of effort she had put in over the past few months came through for her when it mattered most. This girl, who everyone had given up on, finally proved them all wrong. When her father found out she had gotten in, this man who was always the coldest and most distant person in the room couldn't hold back